When the network environment improves, I think we will see a whole explosion because there is already a lot of repressed demand. So if you're trying to take a taxi from Nariman Point to Vasai, there's a lot that you can actually do by way of e-commerce along the way, provided your network didn't drop. So I think there will be one explosion on that count. Generally speaking, if you look at the entire digital space, I think what will shape the future of digital marketing is if marketing people stopped looking at digital as an art form, but just agreed that it is mainstream and it is one more tool. So digital marketing is becoming as much of an art form as rural marketing used to be, and I think we have to stop that. When we mainstream it, I think it will really be okay. The consumer has gone way ahead because the consumer is using digital to change the way he or she lives. So marketing really has to follow. Think about not digital marketing, but about marketing in the new age where everything is digital. So that's really one part. What they need to do is to start quickly building new knowledge in terms of three things. One is how the consumer's life is changing, not just the consumer and the digital interface, but how the consumer's overall life is changing because the consumer world has gone digital. I think we don't fully understand a lot of that yet. And the second thing is to sit down and start dreaming about what is the ideal kind of business model that is possible and see whether digital or technology can actually drive that. So whether you look at the technology and decide how to change your business model to take full use of it, or whether you look at a consumer and say, I wish I could do this, is there a technology that can do it? It doesn't matter which side you start holding your nose, as long as you use it to actually start changing business models. That's the second. The third, I think, is to really say that, listen, this is one more tool I have, this is one more medium I have with which to communicate with the customer. So don't look at it as a separate medium altogether, but to look at it as part of whatever it is you do in terms of your points of customer interface. That's. I think there is a process metric and there's an outcome metric. Sometimes we get the outcomes right, but for the wrong reasons. And sometimes you don't measure the process, and because the outcome hasn't happened, you pull the plug. So I think both are wrong. So we should look at process metrics and we should look at outcome metrics. A process metric typically means that this is how I think it should work in order to produce this result. So how I think it should work should be measured as, is it working the way I think it should be working? So typically process metrics would be whether I'm aware, how much time I've spent, how often I go back and visit it, what do I do with it, what am I learning from it. So it's everything to do with how I engage with that piece of activity. An outcome metric is, at the end of the day, does it make me feel, does it make me think differently about the brand? Does it make me feel better about the brand? Does it make me think this brand versus competition, what are the pluses and the minuses? You know, does it actually shape my intention to have tried it or taken a look at it? So it's all to do. So process metrics are to do with the activity, and outcome metrics are to actually do with the brand or the business.